Hey,
you
good
are
morning.
leaving us after what seems like probably a third of my lifetime. Um, Talk a little bit about, first of all, how we started way back before this was even your job, and you were working with us and for us uh, in a different capacity when we first started all these programs, writing and helping us organize in the schools. Talk a little bit about what that was like in the beginning.
Sure, sure. I became friends, associates with Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival in 1998.
Wow.
And that was my third year of teaching music in the public schools. I taught at Sweeney Elementary at the time, and I became acquainted with you, and I believe it was Kristen Tidwell at the time who was running the education programs. And what was happening then was the beginnings of music in our schools. And music in our schools is a chamber music program going into schools with the finest artists, performing for kids. And of course, it's backed up by curriculum. So not only did Sweeney Elementary and numerous other schools at the time receive this program, but there was curriculum behind it, which was taught, which was created, and then taught in the classroom. And at that time, I served for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years as a curriculum writer.
And and also not just curriculum, but we were making tools also. Do you remember? We would supply them with
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Well, manipulatives and visuals so that the kids had what hard material they needed to express and understand what they were learning on the interior. Yeah, so we provided visual support and material support as well.
And Leanne, talk a little bit about why that was so important to us as opposed to just presenting them with a concert out of nowhere.
For a couple of reasons, deeply important. One, and we'll pass this one by pretty quickly, is teachers, music teachers, were receiving professional development. We wrote the curriculum, we taught the curriculum to teachers. Teachers then taught the curriculum to kids. And that curriculum would involve hearing the music, moving to the music, or experiencing or participating in the music in age appropriate ways, in ways that kids learn the easiest. And then the same music that they heard in the classroom, they would experience in a concert. But the second reason it is so incredibly important or distinctively different from other music programs coming into schools from the outside, performances coming into schools, is because the children become intimately engaged with the music from the start. They learn the music, they love the music, they sing the music. So by the time, and it becomes a part of their being, it's intellectual, it's cognitive, but it's also heart and body and somatic, that they know that music, heart and soul and brain and body, before the musicians arrive. When the musicians arrive, it's a grand celebration because they're hearing what they've been experiencing personally in the classroom.
Talk a little bit about how we partnered with these schools. We didn't just randomly go to schools. Remember, we made sure that they would buy in to this
Yeah.
system.
Sometimes the schools would come to us. They would hear about the program. They would ask if the program could be extended to their school. And we would develop relationships with the music staff at the school, the administration at the school, the principal of the school, and have an agreement with that school. We will come in with a performing ensemble so many times. The music teacher would agree to take the workshops, convey the curriculum to children. So it was a relationship that was based on a value of the program.
And Leanne, speak about the demographics.
As of today, and way back then as well, I would say that 95% of our schools that we serve are Title I, serving the low-income, marginalized sectors of our community, the immigrant sectors of our community, and kids in poverty on the low-income end of the spectrum are receiving this program. So we're serving kids and we're expanding the music programs they're receiving at their schools, but we are also serving kids who may not get this otherwise.
And speak now about the other programs. Speak about the violin programs and the
Sure.
guitar and how we inherited them even.
Well, I won't have the dates perfect, but
Okay.
I'd say somewhere around 1998, 1999, we took over a violin program for kids in schools that had been founded by, at the time, a board member by the name of Robin Close. She was teaching those strings programs in schools. Sweeney Elementary was one of them. There were others as well. And it was a pull-out program where children at the time would come out of their classrooms once or twice a week and receive lessons at school. Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival provided the violins, provided the materials they needed, the curriculum, the books, and they learned to play violin. So they'll start in second grade, they graduate to third grade, they come back, they take it again, graduate to fourth grade, fifth grade, and they're learning violin all that time, playing little concerts, but learning those important skills. So that's how Strings in Our Schools began. We took that program over when another funder wasn't able to, and we've had it since that time, more than 20 years, way more than 20 years. And then in 2016, we were a part and partnered with Capo Community School on Santa Clara Puebla, and bringing our music in our schools, the chamber music program, to that school. And guitars were discovered that weren't being used, maybe had been sitting there gathering dust for who knows how many years. The guitars were upgraded, brought to playing condition, and we started, and I believe that was at your behest, Mark, that we started a program called Guitar in Our Schools. And then under my leadership, when I came into Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival in 2019 as Director of Education, the program was established at Sweeney Elementary and Ramirez Thomas Elementary on the south side, lower income side of Santa Fe, where we also have strings in our schools. So at those two schools, Sweeney Elementary, Ramirez Thomas Elementary, we continue to serve those populations with strings in our schools, instructional violin program, and guitar in our schools instructional guitar program. We also have a program called Dream Big Private Lesson Program. I founded that program when I was working with Santa Fe Public Schools in 2010, 2011 maybe. And I brought it with me when I came to Chamber Music Festival. So that is a private lesson program, bringing private lessons to the schools for kids who have elected performing music as something they want to do. So we bring strings teachers, violin, viola, cello, double bass, any instruments in band programs, choral programs, and guitar programs. We bring private teachers.
The reason we do that in those particular schools is that those kids could not possibly in any way afford to have these lessons were it not us paying for them.
Absolutely. The lessons are completely free for the kids. And at a point where a child is in secondary study, middle school or high school, if they're studying an instrument or voice, they must have private lessons in order to move forward quickly enough to gain those skills they need to reach the level of performing that they hear in their head. So they're empowered through the teacher to make progress on their instrument. And a child in a choir, in a guitar ensemble, in band, they get lots of instruction from their director, but there's a huge student-teacher ratio. Kids need individual private attention from a qualified, skilled, professional musician in a private setting. So we're doing that for them. We're serving 53 children.
And Leanne, speak now a little bit about how we've managed to integrate the sequence of the schools
Yes.
from preschool all the way through high school, and how you've managed to even geographically, how they feed each other, etc.
Yes. We have, as I mentioned, guitar in our schools and strings at our schools at two elementary schools on the south side of Santa Fe. Those two schools feed into Ortiz Middle School. Ortiz Middle School students, when they graduate at the end of 8th grade, they generally go to Capitol High School. So our students graduating guitar and guitar and violin at the elementary are graduating into Ortiz Middle School. There, we provide them with a private teacher. They enter the orchestra program. They enter the guitar ensemble program. We provide them with a private teacher, and that private teacher will follow them through graduation at high school, all the way through middle school, all the way through high school. So if our children are starting guitar, violin, second, third grade, we're carrying them. We stay a part of their lives, and we support their musical aspirations until they graduate from high school. So
Yeah.
those same two schools, we are providing the chamber music program we spoke of earlier. So every child, let's talk about Sweeney Elementary, they might have 400 children at that school at this time. Those 400 children are receiving our chamber music program, even if they're not getting our guitar and our violin program. So when they hit Ortiz Middle School, if they choose a music study, they'll also receive a private teacher. We serve pre-kindergarten students at all of our schools that have pre-kindergarten. We're serving pre-kindergarten students with the chamber music program. So that's I'll just wager a guess, maybe 600 children a year who are pre-kindergarten, ages 3 through 5, 5 in most schools, or 6. Mm-hmm. So pre-kindergarten is an incredibly important part of the program.
I agree. And so in essence, we actually are in the lives of a child from the age of 3 until they graduate from high school, sequentially from school to school as they progress.
Yes.
Speak about why we go through all this trouble.
Music. It's not that Santa Fe Public Schools don't provide music instruction for children. They do, but they can't do everything. There's an incredibly intense amount of pressure on a school to provide education in many realms. So what we do is we partner with the schools to extend and deepen and make more brilliant their education, their music education programs. We go to this trouble, I will say first, because it's our civic responsibility. We are a performing music organization. We know how to do it. We have an obligation to provide beautiful, rich experiences for the people who live right here, and especially for the children who live right here. And secondly, I will say that music is a civil right for children. They have a birthright to music that's not only just music, but quality music with rich potential for learning and experiencing and developing. And music is important because it does educate the cognitive abilities. It creates key neural pathways for succeeding in other areas of life and other academic areas besides music. It does educate the brain. It also educates the heart. And we have no idea what children's lives are like outside of school. We don't know what's going on in their heart, where they might be confused, where they may feel powerless. But through this beautiful thing of music, their heart can open and they can begin to dream and hope and find courage and take risk and be willing to walk into a potentially risky situation. They're not quite ready to succeed in one area, be it social or academic. But because they've had this rich experience through music, which has this kind of invisible power to awaken an individual from the inside out, they're willing to risk. And they do succeed in other areas.
If someone decided that this is all really important and provided you with unlimited resources, what would your big dream be for this?
I would like to see Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival reach deeper into the communities we already serve and continue to serve the underserved populations that we serve, rather than scattering our resources far and wide and reaching out to other communities or more schools. It would, I believe, most powerfully serve our kids that we're serving right now if we deepened and improved the programs we already have.
Explain deepened.
More lessons a week on violin and guitar. Reach into, there is another school that feeds into Ortiz Middle School. That says our Chavez Elementary. We don't at this time have guitar in our schools and strings in our schools at that school. That would be a wonderful acquisition. That's not quite the right word, but it'd be a wonderful step for us to begin to serve those children with our strings and our guitar program. So then we are empowering all those kids in that same community as they come into Ortiz Middle School. And provide private lessons to more kids at the schools that are feeding into Capitol High. So that's Nina Otero Community School, Ortiz Middle School, and El Camino Real Academy.
Leaving this program, how do you feel about the level that we've achieved, and how do you feel about leaving this to someone else to continue and what you hope for?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for that question, Mark. So our students, when they hit high school, they are achieving seats in New Mexico Music Educators Association All-State. They're performing in the finest performance groups, performance ensembles that are possible for a high school student in the state. And many kids are doing that. We have also graduated out of high school music majors who are furthering their pathway in music. And it is my great satisfaction that kids are achieving their dreams in music through our programs, through the programs of the festival. And some are carrying their musicianship out of high school as an avocation, and not as a profession. And some are participating in enjoying music in so many ways that they can in concert halls and in the community. So those are some beautiful things that when kids graduate our programs, they take music in any one of several directions and it becomes a part of their life. I hope to see our programs continue, as we mentioned, to serve the underserved. And I believe it's incredibly important. And in my time with Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival, I have been so supported by staff, by board, by associates, and those connected with our program. And over the past 5 years, our programs have expanded, and even to include now the parent community. We're in connection with parents through our programs, and that becomes a very rich environment for the child, for the family, and for us. And I trust Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival to carry these programs to a deeper, richer, more expanded level. And I know it will happen with the board we have, with the staff we have, with Marc Neikrug. It's been a legacy of Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival before I came to carry music into the lives of those in need. So I'm going to deeply miss my time with Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival. It was rewarding beyond words. And at the same time, it is my great pleasure to pass it on into the hands of this very capable organization.
Two aspects of this program which are really important. One, as a summer festival, performing a lot of concerts, but in a short period of time, 6 weeks really, I've always felt that it's our deep responsibility to the community and also to our supporters, our donors, to have impact for the other 10 and a half months of the year. And it's our responsibility as recipients of funding from our donors and from our supporters to serve this community, which really doesn't have the resources. There's another aspect of this. For at least 50 years, because I'm that old, I've heard over and over again about the audience getting old, they're dying, we're not going to have concerts anymore, there's no audience, they're all going to die out, et cetera, et cetera. These kids are the audience of the future. Mm-hmm. Not immediately, because this is a kind of art form that takes a little bit of maturity for an audience to come back to. But I truly believe that these kids that start hearing us at the age of 3 and 4 and 5, mm-hmm. and then grow up, eventually come back to this experience and the experience of wonder and joy and marvel at what these sounds do to them. And that is the future audience. So this is all integrated and all a part of one thing, which is this festival's responsibility to the community we live in.
A world without music would be really boring because you wouldn't be able to hear cool instruments.